Welcome back to the railroad, everyone. Today, I'm going to try and build something. Today, we're going to try and build some bumpers, some end-of-the-line bumpers. So, as you all know, when you have a nice railroad, you're going to want sidings on it. You're going to want to bring your train to a stop without running off the end of a siding. These, as I recall, are LGB. Yes, these are LGB bumpers. Very nice, very expensive. I've had the good luck to pick up a couple of these at estate sales, and I got them reasonably inexpensive. So I do have two of these. They're very nice, and I've given one to a friend and gotten that one back. But I like them. They're very strong. If you do hit that with a car, you're going to stop dead. You're not going to jump the tracks and go over the end. Now, this one was an old Aristocraft, and a very nice one. It actually locks into the rails, and if you're track powered, then this light will actually come on, so you can set that to be at the red marker. And it's a very nice, pleasant thing to have on the end of your lines, and it does stay on the tracks fairly well. It does not pop off that easily. It will if you've got a heavy load. So there's something. But I'm thinking of building something more like this. And also, there are these types that I actually built with just a few cross ties. And then there is this one that I got from another estate that was given to us. And the gentleman built these, and he actually put pegs in them through the cross beams to lock into the rails. So you had to drill tiny holes in the rails to put pins in and lock these in place, which worked very well. However, they are just a lightweight wood, and they do tend to break up a little bit. So let's get started. Oh, and what we have to work with is I've got a bunch of old track from when we built our last layout. So I've got a bunch of pieces of rail, and I think I'll see what I can do with some of those. So let's get busy. Let me move you around a little. If I just take this, solder two rails on to the existing rails, and then solder cross members in, and I shorten these a little bit, of course, so they're not as long, but that might be, in fact, I could even solder those rail to rail like such, as such. Yeah, I kind of like this idea. May not be conventional for a rail block, but yeah. It would definitely give you some stopping motion to keep the trains from rolling. I will have to do that soldering outside because that is a heavy solder. First thing you need to have is a few safety measures in place. You want to have a good set of goggles. You want to have a good set of work gloves. Have all of your equipment here in place. We have some track. We have the solder, paste. So, let's begin. Most important part of any soldering job is getting good tinning on your pieces that you're going to be soldering. We're going to heat this up. Takes a lot to heat up this brass track, and we want to get some tinning on there. So we'll use a little, make sure the solder sticks, and then try to tin these. So let's heat up this piece. There, that's a little better. We've got some tinning on there now. And the solder is setting. And we're good to go on the first one. I'm not so sure that one held, but we'll see in a minute. It's going to take a couple of minutes for it to set up, to cool. So now we need to set these in tie strips. And they are still a little tenderly hot, so we're going to be careful with them. Okay. Now I can later come by and cut these off to make them level, so we're not going to worry about leveling them up that way. The next step is I need to put cross members on to hold everything in place and to give the car something to bump up against. Now, let's get some resin on there. And let's get a little solder on that. And work it around so it's on there good. Nice even tinning job there. Now you saw me, I have already tinned these two. So what I want to do is put another tie on here to try and hold them in place. Like I say, I can cut these ends off later. Okay, now we had this one heated up pretty well. These have not been heated up too much lately, so we need to heat them up a little. I don't want to break the welds loose on the bottom. Okay. And there we have another bumper. A rail end bumper. Now let's take a little closer look at some of this. See the work here. Okay, so you've seen a couple of the different ones I've made and what I bought. Another one that I bought. But now what I'm looking at is something a little more simple than trying to solder these on, which these did do okay. But just some old railroad ties. These are wooden ties. And we'll run them in crossed so that if a train hits this, it will stop. Okay, so one thing we need to do is trim these edges down, the feet, at about a 45-degree angle so that it'll fit under the rails better. These were some ties that were cut by a garden railroader from a long time ago. Did a beautiful job on them. And there, that sets in there a little better. Cut another one at about that angle. Okay. And that's pretty good for the design. A little bit of glue. Okay, lots of glue. And we'll set this one in place. So with a few scrap pieces of rail, some short pieces that you've had from building your railroad, you can come up with some real nice end of rail stoppers. You keep your trains from running off the end of the tracks. You might be able to buy some at a discounted price. But whatever you do, have fun doing it. Well, you've seen me build some end of the rail stops and out of scrap pieces. So I think it's time to go run some trains. Well, hope you've enjoyed this little video about building some end of the rail stoppers. I hope you have fun on your railroad this year, and 2021 is going to be a much better year. So be safe, stay healthy. We'll see you down the rails, and God bless.